Welcome back to Jabba'S Bricks and another episode of building Jabba'S Palace in Lego. So last week we got these walls all built up to the right height, and that was so we could get this section here all sorted out. Now what we want to concentrate on this week is getting all of the remaining walls put in place and the arches where they need to be. There'll be a lot of finer details that we will do at a later stage, but at the moment we just want to get as much of this done as possible. And the reason being, I want to be able to tile off the walls on the top so we can put the roof section on here, because once we've got the roof section on, which is also obviously going to act as the floor outside, we can then start prototyping the towers, work out exactly how big they're going to be, how they're going to be made, and then ordering the parts accordingly. So we've started doing the prototyping for the stairs in Jabba'S Palace, and I think for the first time in this build series we have come up with a solution first time out. So we've got a 2x10 plate, which is what the width of the stairs is going to be, and we're just sticking a plate on the one end, and on the opposite end we're putting a hinge piece. Now on the opposite side of the hinge we're just going to put another plate and then another hinge, and we're going to continue to repeat that until we get it up to the height that we need it to be for the palace. So I'm just going to do a couple here to show you how it all works, like so. Now what we want to do is tile off all of the steps. So we're going to pop a couple on there. We're leaving these two studs clear at the end, and that's so we can attach some bricks to it for the wall. And on this end we're going to be putting a jumper plate. Now what we'll do, get the next stair, pop it on the next hinge up, and then when we bring this across, that stud actually clips in perfectly to the jumper plate. So we can continue to do the same process all the way up, like so. And then again, next plate on, bring it across, clips into place. So, a couple more tiles, jumper plate, and then our next plate, clip it on, and one final one, and then the jumper plate, and clips on. So there we have it. So as you can see, we've got a nice curve going around, and then all we need to do is just sort of like build our brick wall up on here, and because the plates are curving, it's just naturally curving the wall around. So that's worked out absolutely spot on. It's got exactly what I'm after on here. If we don't want these to be coming around at such a sharp angle, all we would need to do is extend these plates. Whether or not it'll work with a jumper plate on the end, I'm not sure, but that's the size of the gap that we have at the moment. So I think I'm just going to leave it as that to start with. Pop this in the mock, and hopefully we come up with a solution first time out. So let's go over and see how it looks. Good news and bad news. Good news, it works. It looks exactly how I want it to look in here. Bad news is this section here is in the way. Luckily though, it's quite a simple process to move it. So all I need to do is just peel off a couple of plates along here, remove these support structures on there, pull up the cogs and just move it over by about 8 studs. And then the axle that's going along here, we just extend that by 8 as well. So it's not a big deal. It's only going to take 20 minutes, half hour or so to do. Then we can rebuild the support structure up, and then move the steps just back a little bit and then continue to build them up. The other good thing as well is by moving the steps back a little bit, it is going to clear the door that's going to be coming up here. And I have found out the cheese wedges that go on the bottom of the door, so before I build on top of that I can also put those in as well. Anyway, let's start dismantling so we can start building it back up again. And we put the cheese wedges on the bottom of the door here. So these are the bits that would fall and hit the rancor on the head and kill him, basically. So that goes upside down. I would have preferred if they stuck out a little bit more, but unfortunately that's the only option I've got for the pieces that are in our inventory, and that I can make work using the technique here. If I put the slopes on there, I think they'd be too big, and then I'd have to put the cheese wedges on, but also to make sure that this goes in the hole in the ground as well. But it's another little added detail just to add to the mock to make it a little bit more screen accurate. So now we've got that, we can pop that back into the hole, ready to be built above. What a mess. And in typical Jabba'S brick style, we have to knock something down just to rebuild it again. But there we go. The mechanism was on that plate there, As you can see, it's now been moved back 8 studs further. So it's given us plenty of room now to get the stairs exactly how we want them to. I thought I'd left enough room when I built this first time, but clearly I didn't. But hey ho, these things happen. I have checked and the mechanism does still work all nice and smoothly. Obviously we've extended that there and I couldn't find any really small axles like the 3s and 4s, so we've had to go for a 6, but it's not causing any problems, which is good. But anyway, enough talking. Let's get the building back up on top of that, get the support back in place, plate that back over, and then get those stairs in. So let's get to it. So the mechanism's all been moved back and we built up all around the top of it now, so that's all good, all strong. Just rewatched a bit of Return of the Jedi, and sure enough there are 2 small steps, then a larger step, then it starts curving back round there. So it looks like we've pushed that back just about enough so we can put those steps in and then start building our curved stairs going around there. So yeah, that's the next part to do. And here we have the curved stairs already, just need to put the wall pieces on the end. First of all though, what we need to do is build a support structure for going underneath this so that when we're pushing down from above, they don't give way. So let's do that bit next. We've just built this support structure, and as you can see we put the tiles on there, and that's purely because obviously the studs are going at funny angles, and all we're going to do now is just clip that onto there. So now one of those tiles is supporting each of the stairs, and then we're going to get this plate here, pop that across the top of all of that. And over here we've built up a support ready for it to go on, and we've put the tiles on there because again this is all at a funny angle, so it just needs to be resting in there. So the only place this stairs are going to be attached is on this front row. So let's get that all attached and we'll see what it looks like. And the stairs are all in place. All we need to do now is put some bricks on all of these here, tile across the top of it, and build some brick walls on there. Then we can cover over the top of this. Obviously we've put the teeth on the bottom of the door, so we don't need to get access to that. So again, we can put some more support structures on there. But pleased with how that's coming on, and it's starting to feel like a lot of progress is being made here. It's been quite fiddly getting that all done. There was a couple of adjustments we needed to make, but really pleased that the first sort of like attempt we had at mocking something up, it came out okay. And here is the curved stairway with the wall all in place. As you can see, we built it all the way up to the top there. We put some tiles along the top, so that's all ready now to be plated off. And we put black brick at the very back of it, so you can't see any further, sort of like further through, so to speak. But also, so you can't see any of the multicoloured filler brick as well. We're really pleased with how this is coming on. So the next thing to do is start building some more of the walls up. And we've got a wall on the inside here as well. It's not perfect, but it's very good for the angles that you're going to be seeing that, so you can't really see any problem there. And what we've done is we've used this curved brick along with some modified bricks or headlight bricks, and then the cheese wedges on top. So there is a slight gap through that bit, but as I said, when you're looking from this side you won't be able to see it. So pleased with how that's come out. Now we can carry on building this all up and put that roof section on here at long last. And here we have the first archway that leads in and out of Jabba'S throne room. Now we do need to do another arch that comes up here and then goes down to the other side. And that's one that we're going to have to do by some technique using bricks and things like that. However, I don't think that I've got what I'm going to need to do so. So I might have to come back to doing that section, which is a little bit disappointing. But we're going to see if we can prototype it. I know I've got some bricks in other colours that are the ones that I'm wishing to use, so we'll give that a go and see how it looks. And one other thing I'm also going to do, I'm going to put a light in the top of this bit here, which will obviously sort of like light this up because it's way too dark at the moment. And again, I'm still not 100% sure whether or not I've made that arch come down too low, or whether it should be up by another brick or a couple of plates or something like that. So again, this is something we are going to have a bit of an experiment with. And of course, the archway that we're doing here, we've also got to do over there as well. So that again is something else that we need to take into account. So the idea of getting this entirely finished this episode, sort of like structurally wise, and then getting it all tiled off on the top isn't going to be possible, unfortunately, which is a little bit disappointing. But it's one of those things, like the whole mock build series, we want to make sure we get it right rather than just do something for the sake of it and then not be satisfied with the end result. We can still prototype the towers next week, that won't be a problem. I'll still be able to work out how much space we've got on here. But yeah, let's carry on building and get as much done as we can. And the fun continues. So we've replaced the brick here with a snot brick. and we've been making the curves. So this was the first one that we came up with, and it was using the hinge pieces on the bottom of it. And we put 2 rows of those on so we can use every 2 bricks it curves along. However, I don't like the bit that sticks out. However, this one here, I think looks a lot better, and it's using sort of like cylinders and bricks. Now I've had to use some cones and some trans clear ones purely because I haven't got enough of them, so I need to order some in. But all we do then is just attach it to the snot brick, and then there we have the curve. So now all we need to do is to sort of like plate off on the front of here, and then that'll be good to go. So let's get plating and see what it looks like. We have made the archway that's going to be going in front of this section just here. Obviously it's got a lot of straight edges on it, being that the curves, there's no curved slopes basically, or curved plates that are going to be good enough for this. And what I've done, I've put this plate here so that it's like an extra stud longer, and that's going to just clip into this section just here like so. So then we've got the arch. So when you look at it from the side, it's going to look a lot more curved, and what I'm going to try and do is tile over the top of the whole of this just to see if I can lose any of the gaps and make it look a little bit better. One other thing I'm going to try and do is attach these corner parts here. So the studs on here, I'm going to try and connect it to that bit there and do that on both sides just to make it that a little bit sturdier, and hopefully it'll help it to keep the curved shape as well. So we're going to try that bit next, and then we attach it to the wall here. We've had to remove the snot brick because it's not in the right place, so we'll find out where it's got to be and then put it all back in and show you what it looks like. And there we have the archway all in place, and really pleased with how that's turned out. It's going to look a lot better, I think, once it's been tiled over and made all smooth like the rest of the walls in Jabba'S Palace. It's come out a bit further than I was originally anticipating, so I'm hoping I've still got the right shape to the palace. I think I'm going to need to bring this wall bit out just a little bit further here, and then we've got to sort out the booths. They're going to go into that part. But yeah, all in all, pretty pleased with how it's coming on. And it's going to be all change again. So after putting the archway on this piece here, I was just looking, I thought I've made all that effort into getting the stairs looking curved, and you can't actually tell really that easily that they are curved. And I think I need to bring the arch back up by 1 brick. So I'm just going to strip the bricks off of here, bring them up by 1 and just see how that looks, and then we can redesign that arch. So it really mean adding another brick onto the bottom of it, so it shouldn't be too much trouble. But I thought with the details that are there, might as well try and enjoy them. So let's start stripping that back down, and we'll see if it improves it by lifting the arch up by 1 brick. And I'm much happier with that now. You can actually see the curve a little bit on there, so it gives shows a little bit of detail. And as you can see, I've also put a light in there as well now, so it's not so dark and dingy. I'm going to start redoing the archway that was going across there, because I don't think it's big enough. I think it needs to be much wider, hence I've knocked the wall down there. I'm going to push it over a little bit further, gain a couple of extra bricks each side. So let's get back to working on that, and we'll see what we can come up with. And I'm much happy with that new archway. I think it's looking a lot better than the previous one. Having it that little bit wider, I think does look a lot better. So we've ordered in some parts that we need, like the tan cylinders to go in there, where we've used a trans clear on there, and I've ordered enough so that I can do a second arch to go over this part here. So hopefully we will be able to get that all done as soon as that order comes in. But the next thing we need to do is turn our attentions back down to the droid torture room, and we need to rebuild as the Gonk Droid. So last week we made our Gonk Droid and put it on the torture chamber part. However, when I was sort of like editing the video last week, as I mentioned, I wasn't happy with how it was looking. For me, this body's too short, the legs are too long, and also when rewatching the scene, this bit here is way too tall as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sort of like get some alternative parts out and see if we can make a new Gonk Droid and also lower the torture chamber part. So let's start doing that, and once we've come up with a new creation, we'll show you what it looks like. And here is the revised Gonk Droid. So it's a little bit shorter on the leg side of it, and also the body is now looking a little bit bulkier as well. So much happier with that. So what we can do, we'll put it back onto the torture device and see what it looks like. And I'm thinking that's looking a lot better now. Much prefer it being that little bit lower, the whole torture device, but also the Gonk Droid looks so much better in my opinion on there. So yeah, there he is. Worth the time and effort of changing it over. And just checking in one final time for this update. So it's been a productive week. I didn't get quite as much done as I was anticipating. I wanted to get this entire section all built up and then tiled off the top of it, and so we could put the roof on, so we could then start planning for the towers next week. Also, we built this section up here and that, and we've tiled down those stairs, and obviously we've got this part here done. So what we'll be doing next week is I want to start prototyping the towers that are going to be going on the top here, just so I can get an idea of what parts we need to order in for that. But also, if we can, I want to get as much of this done ready for doing the archway. And again, I might very well sort of like build as much of it as I can and then just prototype it and then just swap over the miscoloured parts afterwards. Got to fix the trapdoor there because we just broke that as well. But yeah, really pleased with how this has come on this week. This took a little bit longer to do than I was anticipating, mainly with the archway, trying to come up with a decent idea. And then sort of like I kept changing the size of it because I wanted it to look just right. And also the stairs in there, we've changed a couple of details on there, but I'm really happy that the prototype was first time and it came out well. Obviously, we've now got the teeth on the bottom of the rankle door as well, which is all good. So this is all fine to be plated over now as well. So we really are hoping that there's going to be some tan plate on the pick a brick wall, as well as some dark tan tiles as well. One other thing we did manage to get done this week as well, which I haven't shown you yet, is just above the door here. We've changed over these modified plates and put the hinges on there, and the reason being is when you use these, and I didn't realise until a little while after I'd done it, that when you put a plate on like so, as soon as you go to put a next plate on there, it won't actually clip. You need it to have a curved side on there, so that wasn't actually possible to do. So shame, because I think it would have been nicer to have used these, because the only problem with using the hinges is you get the little sort of like hinge piece showing on there, but it still look good once it's come out. So as I said, just need some tan tiles to go on that, and then we can finish that section on there. But really pleased with how the mock's coming on. Anyway, that's all we got time for this week. If you haven't already done so, please consider hitting that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And please share it with your family and friends. Anyway, thanks for popping on by. See you next time. Bye for now.